Hey guys, welcome to Pecan Grove. I'm Wanda, and today I thought I would make some biscuits. I had many people ask for a recipe that I talked about that I did last week, and we're going to call them powdered everything biscuits. That's the recipe, powdered everything. I'm always looking at different people, the way they make biscuits and things like that, and I've come across quite a few people that have excellent biscuit recipes, but you make them and then bake them. Make and bake. So Rose Red did a video last week of making up everything and then putting it in baggies and putting it in the freezer. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take Rose Red's recipe to the next level. Y'all go watch Rose Red, because she did tell you step by step how she did it. She put it in bags and she froze it. And I thought, okay, I can do that. And then it hit me. I wanted a jar. I wanted something I could sit in my cabinet here, and it says biscuit mix. Just add water. And I forgot to put, bake at 425. I wrote to add water, bake at 425. I put my stuff on here so I wouldn't have to go look it up every time. But this is powdered everything. Everything in there to make a decent biscuit that you need, and it's awesome. It's a buttered buttermilk biscuit, let's put it that way. All right, so I'm gonna give you the measurements later, but we're gonna talk about what is in this mix. And y'all go check out Rose Red, because she has some fabulous information on canning, cooking, everything, and you can trust her. She does things scientifically. She checks out whys and whats and all that. That's why I trust this recipe. I knew if she made it, it had to be good. All right, first off, I've been buying from Azure Standard for a while, and there is a link in the description below if you want anything from Azure Standard. All right, this says Azure Market Organic All-Purpose Flour. It is unbleached. This is a very good flour. It works up. I've had no issues with this flour. But it is all-purpose flour. Now, if you have self-rising flour, this works with any flour you want to do, I guess, as far as flour. Now, I don't know alternatives, gluten-free. You'd have to play around with the recipe. But all-purpose flour, you have to have salt and baking powder. Just saying. Aluminum-free. And this is my Redmond's salt. So it's got a lot of minerals in it. Good for you. But if you're using self-rising, then you omit the salt and baking powder. Only difference, self-rising versus all-purpose. Then, from Azure, I bought the buttermilk powder. I used to use buttermilk powder years ago. You can buy it at Walmart and most places. You don't have to get it from Azure Standard, but this says it is organic buttermilk, organic skim milk. That's it. That's all that's in mine. I don't know if you go pick it up in Walmart what's on that can. I'm sure there's more ingredients than that in it. But that's what's in here. So we have the buttermilk. And then I bought this, let's see, in 2020. And it says to use it by 2030, because on here it says up to a 10-year shelf life. I always write on the top of my stuff like this, when I ordered it, 9/9 of 2020, and then I figure out it says 10-year shelf life. I go up 9/9/2030. So 5 years has done passed, and I haven't used this butter powder. I just really forgot I had it till we got to moving, and I'm like, when Rose Red was cutting that butter up, and she was putting it in her thing, in her flour and stuff, and mixing it all up to that point. Now, she didn't put buttermilk in hers. She did the flour and the butter, but she did cold butter and squeezed it up in there and then put it in the freezer. Then when she takes it out, she adds real buttermilk. I decided we're going to powder everything. My Patriot Supply. There's a link in the description below for My Patriot Supply. I went and looked. They still have the butter powder. They still have the milk powder, the honey powder, the peanut butter powder, and the egg powder. I would not pay $79 for one of these with eggs in it. I'm just saying. Y'all can if you want to, but that's a little much right now. I think the eggs ought to be about $24 for one of these cans, and it is $79 right now. So if you got money to throw away on eggs, they do have eggs. But the butter is what we put in this recipe. Now I'm going to walk you through the recipe in a minute, and we're going to take out X amount on here. I'm going to tell you how much I take out. We're going to add water to it, and I'm going to tell you how much water I add in order to make 2 biscuits. And we're going to use this. This is a Pampered Chef stone, and it holds 2 biscuits perfectly. And you're going to see, once this stone heats up, it cooks things pretty evenly. That's what I like about these stone things from Pampered Chef. So this is a really good thing to have, because I only want to make 2 biscuits. I'm not making a lot. And Danny's daughter, Jennifer, is a Pampered Chef consultant. And if you want, I can try and link her down below too. So let's make some powdered everything biscuits. Okay, we're going to get started. Now, I like about half a cup of powder for a biscuit. So this is a half a cup. And we're going to go ahead and put my half a cup in there. Now I want 2 biscuits, so I'm going to do another half. I could have done a cup, but I wanted to show you that for 1 biscuit, because I did 1 biscuit a couple of days ago. So half a cup of our mix for 1 biscuit. Now I have half a cup of water. I'm not using all the water. I'm just going to put some in and go to mixing, because you don't want to over mix a biscuit. And we'll just add a little. So far about 1/4 of a cup. All right, so we've used about 1/4 of a cup. I'm going to add just a little bit. That's it. I would say a good 1/4 of a cup, and that's it. We're not going to over mix this. And you can see here, and I'm going to make drop biscuits. I'm not going to be rolling them out, but you can. I'm going to make 2 drop biscuits, and I only used 1/4 of a cup of water. Now if you want to roll them out, that's up to you. I've already buttered my surface here. And we're going to put the biscuits on. We've got the oven at 425. We're going to pop them in the oven for, I think it was 15 minutes, and check them in 15 minutes. This is my drop biscuit. If you don't want them to look so with the mountains, and you can wet your fingers and round them up and whatever, but I like drop biscuits. And I am going to put 1 little slice of butter on each right quick. I used some of the Mother's Choice butter, and I put 1 slab of butter on top of each one. And this will just kind of melt down to give it that really buttery. You don't have to do that. You can make it with just this because it has butter in it. But we're fixing to go over the recipe while these cook. Okay, Rose Red's recipe called for 2½ cups of flour. Now if you use self-rising, that's all you need, 2½ cups of flour. But if you're using an all-purpose, you need your 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 3/4 tablespoons of baking powder. Okay, so you have to know to add the baking powder and salt if you're using all-purpose. Self-rising, you're good. So 2½ cups of flour, ½ a cup of butter, and 1 cup of buttermilk. All right, so she took 1 stick of butter, she chopped it up and mixed it into her flour, and then she proportioned it out according to how many biscuits she wanted, put it in Ziplocs, and put it in the freezer. So I took the half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick. My butter powder right here on here tells me if I want half a cup of butter, I need half a cup of butter powder. So I took half a cup of butter powder and added to my flour. So that's an easy thing. If you want half a cup of butter, you use half a cup of butter flour. And then the buttermilk, she said 1 cup of buttermilk. To make 1 cup of buttermilk, you need 3 tablespoons of this powder. 3 tablespoons. So I added 3 tablespoons to my mixture. Now you ignore the water content for all of it right now because you're not going to be adding water. You're simply making shelf stable. And you can add your oxygen absorbers or your moisture absorbers into this if you long-term storage. This won't last long. 2.5 cups of flour, half a cup of butter powder, and 3 tablespoons of buttermilk powder. Shelf-stable biscuits, y'all. Just add water. Now, I added water according to how I wanted my biscuits to taste. I knew the texture I wanted, but go back for, let's see, I think she made 12 biscuits with 2.5 cups. And she used 1 cup of buttermilk. So 12 biscuits, 1 cup of buttermilk. You would have to divide all your powder up and see how much per biscuit. Me, I used half a cup per biscuit. So I had half a cup, about 1/8 of a cup of water per biscuit if you're gonna do it my way. So when you put it in your jars, I put mine in 2 small jars and I made some. You can put this in 1 taller jar, 1 bigger jar. I probably in the future will get 1 quart jar with a wide mouth so it's easier for me to handle. But I had 2 wide mouth pints and I did that for now. All right, guys, look at this. Isn't that awesome? They're beautiful. Look. So we're going to sit them down because this stone gets pretty warm. Take one off. What do you think? Isn't that pretty? All right, we're going to break it open. Look at that. I'm talking steam running off of it. Airy. Look at the bottom. Isn't that amazing? Okay, we're going to try it. I have some maple syrup here. And I'm just going to, I guess, break it open. And I'm talking fluffy. Yo, soft, fluffy. It is amazing. This is the biscuit you want to do right here. You can't beat the bottom. Now you could have left it a little longer, but they're flaky, puffed up. Yum. Powdered everything biscuits. That's the way to go. This is my biscuit recipe from now on. I will be trying to find Danny a gluten-free flour that I can make this with. When I do, I'll come back with a gluten-free flour recipe. But for now, I'm hooked. Powdered everything. Check it out, y'all. See you later from Pecan Grove.